Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic. You have tuned into episode 160 of the Curvy Critic. I am your girl, Carla Renata. And if this is your first time joining me, please excuse me while I turn my phone off. If this is your first time joining me, hello, Jordan Gully. Hope all is well with you too. Please click the bell for notifications and give me a big old thumbs up to let me know that you are here. And we will go ahead and get this party started. So I always like to start out the week or start out the episode with what I did for the week and explain to you who I am. So if you are not familiar with me, I am a film critic, multi-hyphenate, actress, stuff like that. And I interview people above and below the line in the film industry. And I have a few interviews here and there too. So there's that. So thank you. Hey, Brandon. So I always say hello to who's in the chat room. We have Jordan and Brandon. Thank you for joining us. And I'm sure more people will filter in as we go along. If not, they will catch the live broadcast afterwards. So let me get into what had happened over this week. But before we do any of that, let me just acknowledge the fact that Queen Elizabeth lost her better half, Prince Philip, over the weekend. He was 99 years old. So the Bafta Awards had a little bit of a somber tone starting this morning because of his death. And he was one of the chairman CEOs of the Bafta Awards that came along with him being the Duke of Edinburgh. So wanted to bring some light to that and say rest in peace and thoughts and prayers to his family. Also wanted to acknowledge the unexpected passing of rapper DMX. He met his untimely death this week, and he was 50 years old. So wanted to acknowledge those two things before we get started into any film news. We also want to talk about the Afka Awards, because if it were not for Afka, you guys, I don't think that you would even know who I was. Afka is the African American Film Critics Association, of which I am a member. They had their ceremony this April 7th, where they honored Mariah Carey. They honored George C. Wolfe, director George C. Wolfe, and Viola Davis walked away with 2 awards. And what was really heartwarming about Viola Davis is that she's genuinely hella excited every time she wins. And that yellow dress and earrings that she had on at this year's awards was popping. I was like, yes, girl, it is great, 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 great. I loved it so very much. So it was just everything. I loved her on that. Afka Awards. Oh, and the other thing that happened was dun 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 dun. They finally made the announcement, the one that I was teasing you guys with last week. So what happened is myself and I. Okay, anyway, let me stop being silly. Myself and Angelique Jackson, Variety's media and film reporter, we are going to be hosting the virtual backstage at the Film Independent Spirit Awards on April 22nd. Now, the Spirit Awards usually happens at the beach in Santa Monica, on the Santa Monica Pier down in that area. But due to COVID and everybody switching their award shows online, we are doing it virtual. So Angelique and I will be hosting what's happening backstage, and there'll be some more. Melissa Villasenor will be hosting it, the broadcast online in real time where you can see her, but we'll be backstage. So be on the lookout for that. If there's some links or something that come along with that, I will be. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for saying congrats. I appreciate it. I'm hella excited. Thank you. And thank you, Brandon. Yes, it was really great. Really, really great. So excited that that's happening. But wanted to let you guys know about that. And so now that we have talked about all of my stuff and gotten it out of the way, let's get into Around the Curve.
The Let's take a trip around the curve. A Beautiful Noise, the new Broadway-bound Neil Diamond musical, will have its world premiere at Boston's Emerson Colonial Theater in June 2022. Justin Timberlake is in talks with Apple TV to play Gong Show host / CIA op Chuck Barris in an Untitled series based on Barris's memoir Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Adepero Odoye will play opposite Vera Farmiga in Apple TV's limited series 5 Days at Memorial. Sources reveal Renee Elise Goldsberry from Hamilton fame and Girls 5 Eva is set to co-star opposite Tatiana Maslany in the upcoming Marvel series She-Hulk for Disney+. Indiana Jones 5 has found its leading lady in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who landed the role opposite Harrison Ford in this iconic action-adventure franchise. Focus Features has acquired worldwide rights to feature Silent Twins, starring Latasha Wright and Tamara Lawrence as the title twin sisters. The film is based on the haunting true story of June and Jennifer Gibbons, twins from the only black family in a small town in Wales in the 1970s and 80s. Neutrogena announced the launch of its first ever brand content studio, Neutrogena Studios, and premiere of its first documentary short, In the Sun, from E.P. Carey Washington. The content studio will provide an innovative medium to tell compelling stories that educate about the science behind skin health. CBS Studios has struck an overall deal with Me Too founder Tarana Burke and her producing partner Mervyn Marcano. TCM's 7th annual Big Screen Classic continues on April 18th, 21st, and 22nd with the Golden Globe nominee La Bamba in accordance with Fathom Events. For more info, go to fathomevents.com/events/La Bamba. Helen Mirren is set to play Israel's only female prime minister, Golda Meir, in a new biopic. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Archwell Productions has announced the first project under its recently signed deal with Netflix titled Heart of Invictus, a docuseries about the organization behind the Invictus Games, the adoptive sports for veterans founded in 2014 by Prince Harry. Olivia Colman will star in Empire of Light, the next film from director-writer Sam Mendes that is set at Searchlight Pictures. It's a love story set in and around a beautiful cinema in South Coast of England in the 80s. Isaiah Mustafa, Gabriel Byrne, and Thomas Jane are set to lead a Western thriller, Murder at Immigrant Gulch, while Nia Long is joining Storm Reed in the next installment of the box office hit film Searching for Sony's Stage 6 Films. Zoe Saldana's Netflix limited series From Scratch, based on the Timmy Locke's best-selling memoir, has tapped Keith David and Kalita Smith as part of the cast from Reese Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine banner. Universal Studios will release George Clooney and Julia Roberts' romantic comedy Ticket to Paradise in September 2022. George Lindenberg and Tosin Cole are in negotiations to lead New Line Cinema's new cult comedy House Party based on the 1990 film. Gravitas Pictures has picked up the North American rights to Queen Bee, a romance with Ellen Bernstein and James Caan. And according to The Wrap, Kanye West is getting his own docu-series that's expected to debut later this year. Hot on the heels of SAG wins for Viola Davis and Chad Boseman, there's going to be a docu-short on the real Ma Rainey that hits KCBS in LA at 7 p.m. on April 12th. We're talking about the Baftas today. We are talking about the 20th anniversary of Legally Blonde. Yes. Oh my God. And Moxie. All that and more on this episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata.
Yes, we're going to talk about all of that. So I precursored myself. Don't you? You gotta love it. Gotta love it. So let's get right into it. I want to talk about this film, Moxie. Now, Moxie's been on Netflix for a minute, and I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. It's like this little, well, let me just say who it's directed by. It's on Netflix. It's directed by Amy Poehler. It's based on a young adult book by the same name by Jennifer Matthew and adapted by Tamatra Chesna and Dylan Meyer. It stars Lauren Tsai as Claudia, Hadley Robinson as Vivian. They are best friends. They've been best friends since they were 4. Hadley, aka Vivian, is inspired by her mom's rebellious past and a confident new friend, a shy 16-year-old played by another diva. She pushes an anonymous magazine calling out sexism at her school. This movie has everything but the kitchen sink in it. And like I said, it's been out since the beginning of March, but I kind of love it. It has rape in it. It has racism in it. It's got sexism in it. It's calling out being handled by teen girls who were tired enough and had enough of guys being sexist and crazy and all of that. So the guy that's in the film his role is Mitchell. He's played by Patrick Schwarzenegger, and he's like, the classic jock dude, one of those dudes that's always in school harassing people because he's the lead of the football team. You know how they do. It's they just do that stuff. But these girls are like, not today. We're not having it. We're not taking it. And it's up against a backdrop of 90s rock music. There's like a little 90s Asian rock band singing a song called Rebel. It is everything. And this film Amy Poehler does with this film what Olivia Wilde accomplished with Booksmart and what Tina Fey accomplished with Mean Girls. It's in that same lane of teen comedies, but it's from a teen feminist point of view. And I loved every single section of it. The young little feminist whose name I was trying to find, her name is Alicia Pascual Pena. She's like this little Black Afro-Cuban feminist who comes into the school as a new student, and the other little girls are like, yeah, but we know he's a jerk. He's been a jerk since we were in the 4th grade. She's like, yeah, that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it acceptable. And y'all need to like squash that and get with the program. It was great. I loved it. And it goes in accordance with everything we'll be talking about today. But again, it's directed by Amy Poehler. She's in the film as well. And she it's on streaming on Netflix. Sorry, I was a little distracted by myself. Because y'all know how I roll. I'm like trying to do 5,000 things at one time. But anyway, it's called Moxie, and it is currently streaming on Netflix. Now, at the beginning of the show, I talked about the Bafta Awards. Now, the Bafta Awards are the British Academy Film and Television Awards. They happen every year, and they do 2 days. I think they usually would do it in 1 day, but this year, because of COVID and everything else, they did it in 2 days. So on April 10th, they announced their craft awards, and the craft awards are usually those awards that deal with makeup, hair, sound design, all that kind of stuff. So what they did this year was on the 10th, and one of the presenters had me cracking up. He says, I like to call it Bafta Light. I think that's a good name to adopt for everything from now on. Bafta Light, Oscar Light, Spirit Awards Light, everything is just light because it's not what it normally was, right? I love that. I thought that was hilarious. But anyway, Netflix had a really good run at the BAFTAs this year because they had 34 nominations. They took home costume, hair, and makeup for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Production design went to Mank. Special effects went to Tenet. Sound design went to Sound of Metal. Noel Clarke took home the outstanding contribution to cinema 13 years after he received the Rising Star Award. So the BAFTAs must be really proud that they got that one right. Leslie Odom Jr. performed his nominated song from One Night in Miami, Speak Now, and they also announced during the BAFTA Awards today that theaters will be opening next month in the UK, and then showed a preview of what's coming up next in the theaters montage. So we'll see how that works out. That picture is from his performance today, where he performed A Change Is Gonna Come with Grammy Award winning artist Corinne Bailey Rae, who is a native to the UK. Now today, they announced all the other awards, and those awards, I can tell you right now, Nomadland slammed it. They just killed everything. They won everything. Frances McDormand won for Best Actress. Chloe Zhao won for Best Director. Let me see, what else did they win? I'll just go down the list. So, so let me talk about Soul for a second before I get into Nomadland. So the best animated picture was Soul. This is the thing about Soul. I think it's probably going to win the Oscar. It's been winning everything in the animated category so far, beating Wolf Walkers, which I thought Wolf Walkers was going to do better than it did because I kind of loved Wolf Walkers. The EE Rising Star Award went to Buki Bakre for Rocks. She is a young 16-year-old child who made her first cinematic debut in this film, and she is like cleaning up the awards in Britain. I know folk are through with her, but the look on her face, the sheer delight and surprise when they called her name was really beautiful and heartwarming to watch. I loved every second of that. Best Adapted Screenplay went to The Father, Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller. Best Actor went to The Father as well for Sir Anthony Hopkins. Best Editing went to Sound of Metal from Michael E.G. Nielsen. or Mikkel E.G. Nielsen, which it should, because the sound design for that is just bananas. Film not in an English language went to another round. Outstanding cinematography went to Nomadland. I told y'all Nomadland was kicking booty. Supporting actress went to Yoo Jung-yoon for Minari, and I hollered when she won because she started out saying, "Oh." She's like, "Thank you for my nomination." She's like, "Oh, right. I'm not nominated anymore. I'm the winner." I hollered. And then I really hollered when she said this. She was like, "Yeah, usually this award is given by some stuffy British organization, but oh well, I'm glad I won. Thank you." I laughed out loud. I'm like, she is just as real and just as authentic as she was in her role as the grandma in Minari. I kind of love her. Emerald Fennell took home a Best Original Screenplay. Best Supporting Actor went to Daniel Kaluuya from Judas and the Black Messiah. Outstanding debut by a British writer, director, or producer went to Remy Weeks, who's a brother. I was like, yes, for the brother in the Brits. Yes, he directed a film that is currently running on Netflix. I told you Netflix is kicking booty. It's called His House. It's a psychological thriller. It was everything, and it kind of scared me a little bit, but it was really, really good. And it stars a young lady who was also in Lovecraft Country. Her name is Wumi. She played the sister to what's the child's name? I can't remember her name. Anyway, she played the sister in Lovecraft Country. Best documentary went to My Octopus Teacher, which I was actually kind of surprised by that. I was like, y'all don't want to pick Collective? Oh, I guess it's too much trauma to pick Collective, but okay, whatever. So they won. Original score went to Soul for John Baptiste, Trez Reznor, and Atticus Ross. Outstanding British film went to Promising Young Woman. So Emerald Fennell got another nod there. Ang Lee was honored for his body of work, and they gave him the BAFTA Academy of Fellowship. If you're not familiar with who Ang Lee is the director of Brokeback Mountain, Life of Pi, and Sense and Sensibility, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I know it's hard to believe that one person directed all of those movies, but he did. I'm going to take a break and just address this little comment that I see from Brandon. You thought Wolfwalkers was great, but Soul was great, but not your favorite Pixar movie. Yeah, it's not my favorite Pixar movie either, but apparently it resonated with a lot of people. So, it's just doing its thing. I told y'all about Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and of course, Best Film went to Nomadland. So it looks like Nomadland is paving the way for their sweep at the Oscars. But, I was saying to my producer before we went live that the Oscars, like this whole award season, is very unpredictable. We don't know who's going to do what, how it's going to play out. We just have no idea, right? And this is why. We've all been in the house. It's been a year where people have been, not going out, can't go to the theaters. Some people don't have access to stream online. So that's why the winners are falling and landing all over the place, because some of the ones that I thought were really going to resonate with critics and Academy voters are not resonating at all. And it's really cracked. I'm like, okay, I don't understand, but maybe it's not for me to understand. So what I'm going to do right now is I said I was going to get into the Best Picture nominees and the Best Animated Short nominees. I hardly ever talk about animated shorts, but I feel like the animated shorts in the last couple of years have really stepped up their game. They are cinematically beautiful. The storylines are just bananas. So I will get into let me go to my list for the Best Animated Shorts first, and we'll hit those. The first one is Burrow, which I know Brandon loves because it's a Pixar short. It is directed by Madeline Sharafian, and it deals with a little rabbit trying to burrow her new home rather, for herself underground, but has to contend with the space that is already occupied by several other small inhabitants, and disaster ensues. I kind of loved this. It was funny. It kind of was touching. It brought up a lot of emotions for me, and I really, really kind of loved it. If Anything Happens, I Love You. Govier is one of the directors, and I don't know if the ability to break the Academy's stubborn tradition of letting a member's kids decide the winner, but I think this one's going to resonate really well with kids. Opera is the next one. Your eyes cannot possibly taken everything that's happening in this stunning animated short, but it depicts an orderly society seemingly floating through space as we witness swarms of worker bees, war, death, birth, and aspects of society as a whole. And when I say shorts, most of these shorts range anywhere from 10 minutes long to 28, maybe 36 minutes long. So they're very, very short. If you want to see all of the shorts, the animated, documentary, and live action shorts, you can go to Shorts TV and watch them there. You can pay $9 and see all of them. It'll take you about 2 hours to get through all of the titles. Yes, People is the last one in the animated shorts category, and it's an Icelandic short that depicts a day in the life of a working class inhabitant of an apartment building. It's the kind of animation style where every facial and bodily feature of every character is greatly exaggerated, and it makes it kind of difficult to connect with them, but it's very entertaining nonetheless. So those are the animated shorts categories. Now I want to hop back up to the the documentary shorts. Now, before I get into the documentary shorts, let me just share this. Oh, hey, Michael B. Thanks for joining us. This is what I want to say. In the documentary short category and in the live action category, I'm not sure if it's for the first time in history, but I'm pretty sure this hasn't happened that often. Ava Duvernay, Oscar-nominated Ava Duvernay, is the producer for A Concerto is a Conversation, and her brother, Nick May, is the producer of not a song for Latasha, is the producer for Two Distant Strangers. So for I'm not sure if it's the first time or not. I probably need to check that out. But we have a brother and sister competing in the documentary categories. One is in live action, one is in short. So it's going to be really interesting to see if either one of them take it home or both of them. I'm like, yay, I'm so excited. Anyway, documentary shorts. Do Not Split is directed by Laura Poitras and Charlotte Cook. It's a 36-minute documentary that puts viewers on the front lines of Hong Kong's protests. The film captures the demonstrations from the movement's beginnings in 2019 through 2020. Hunger Ward, Sky Fitzgerald, is the director, and this film follows two women, a doctor and a nurse, running the war-torn country's hunger wards as they treat patient after patient displaying horrifying symptoms of malnutrition. That one was hard for me to take, I gotta admit. Colette, which is the favorite in this category. It's not my favorite because I got two favorites in this category, but Colette is directed by Anthony Giacchino. It's a 90-year-old former French resistance fighter who follows Colette Catherine as she visits the Nazi concentration camp where her brother perished after vowing to never set foot in Germany again. Those kind of stories are just hard for me to take, and as one of my fellow critics they call it trauma porn. There's only so many slavery and so many Nazi stories I can watch. I know it's a part of history. I know we have to acknowledge it. I know I should watch it, but man, it's just really difficult. But what I will tell you is all these documentary shorts are the bomb. Hello, Kenneth Williams. Good to see you. Concerto is a Conversation. I've talked about this film here before. It is directed by Chris Bowers and again produced by Ava Duvernay, Oscar-nominated Ava Duvernay, a virtuoso jazz pianist who is Chris Bowers, and film composer. He tracks his family's lineage through his 91-year-old grandfather from Jim Crow, Florida, to the Walt Disney Concert Hall. And in Florida, his 91-year-old grandfather Horace started in Florida and LA, started a dry cleaning business by applying for loans by mail. I thought that is such a wonderful story. A Song for Latasha is directed by Sophia Nali Allison. Now, y'all might remember Latasha Harlins was the young lady that was shot by the Korean store owner out here in LA. And it was one of the incidents that sparked off the LA riots in the late 90s, right? This is 19 minutes long. I interviewed Sophia for Film Independent, so you can hop over to the Film Independent YouTube channel and find that interview there. It's called A Song for Latasha, and I talked to Sophia about this documentary, why she decided to do it about Latasha, and why she decided to do it the way that she did. Latasha was 15 years old at the time that she was shot and killed. Sophia doesn't use any of the shooting footage in this. Instead, she films girls doing things that Latasha would be doing, like shooting hoops and wandering through beautiful fields of yellow flowers. And the way it's shot is really beautiful, and I wholeheartedly enjoyed it. The last category of shorts are the live action shorts. And again, I want to reiterate the fact that one of the films in this category is produced by Ava DuVernay's brother, Nick May. Now, it's directed by former Daily Show writer Trayvon Free. And they took the concept of Groundhog Day. So Groundhog Day is a popular subject this year. They did that with Palm Springs too. So they took Groundhog Day, they took that concept, and they had it where it was a day that kept repeating itself. But in this situation, it turned into a disturbing series of events about a Black man in America. Some days he wakes up, but it always ends up with him getting shot. Like some days he wakes and all he wants to do is get home to his dog. At the end of this film, there is a list of all of the people that were shot and killed due to, some type of police altercation. And it says right next to their name what it was they were doing when they got shot. Some of them were just going to the grocery store. Some of them were taking out the trash. Some of them were just walking down the street. Some of them were having an episode because they were mentally ill. One of them was running, just running, taking a jog. None of them were doing anything that was illegal. None of them. I want this to win just because I need for it to make a statement. I really do. But I understand that may not be the case. But I just wanted to pull that up and tell y'all about it. It's called Two Distant Strangers. It is on Netflix right now. You can stream this on Netflix right now. It is 19 minutes long. It will not take much of your time. The Present is directed by Farah Nabulsi. Youssef and this is an Israeli film. Youssef and his young daughter set out in the West Bank to buy his wife a gift for their wedding anniversary. The pain and anguish on his daughter's face when they won't let them through to just go get the gift, which is a refrigerator, it broke my heart. And then what really broke my heart is that because she was nervous, she peed on herself. And so she was embarrassed, but the pain and anguish on her father's face and watching that happen to his daughter and not being able to do anything about it, man, I'm telling you, these short films were getting to me. White Eye is written and directed by Tomar Shushan. Is shot in a single take and blocked with balletic precision is the best way I can describe it. It turns a small inconvenience into a moral quandary with a devastating real life consequences. It deals with this Israeli man who believes that his bike has been stolen by a Black man. Again, the race equality thing. This was one of those, it was a rage triggering film for me. White Eye was, but it was hella good and I really enjoyed it. Feeling Through is produced by Oscar winner Marlee Maitland. It's written and directed by Doug Rowland. It deals with a late encounter on a New York City street that leads to a profound connection between a Black teen in need and a deaf and blind man. They end up it ends up being like this really wild buddy comedy that happens in the course of one night, and how somebody who can't hear or talk makes friends with somebody who's very abled, and they end up giving each other small messages in their hand, and that's how they communicate. I love that movie. It was everything. The Letter Room is directed by Elvira Lynn, and it stars her husband, Oscar Isaac, who plays Richard, a corrections officer assigned to a mailroom duty at a maximum security prison. You guys, all of these films are just ridiculously entertaining. They're really good. They're 20 minutes, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 36 minutes, but they make you want to see more. Like, I would love to see if some of these films were expanded into a feature film or even a TV series at some point, or a mini series or a docu-series or something. They were so good. Now, because I'm running out of time, I thought I would be able to get through these shorts a little bit quicker. So I'll save the best pictures until next week, because I don't want to rush through those, and I want to give y'all the full throttle of all of that. But before I go, I'm going to get into this Curvy Classic situation. So I'll hold the Best Picture nominees for next week when I talk about the Spirit Award predictions and the recap of the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, which usually is a precursor to the Oscars too. Um, so live living blonde. Legally Blonde, y'all, it's one of my favorite movies because it stars my girl Reese Witherspoon, and as we all know, it centers around Elle Woods and her quest to go to college to go to Harvard, to be specific, so that she can be closer to her boyfriend, um, Warren, who is paying her no mind. He could care less, but it's pure comedy. I love her for that. And I love the whole premise of the film because it's one of those films that is light and it's fluffy. They got the bend and snap action happening. They have so many things that are happening in this film that I just really love it. It stars Reese Witherspoon. We see Luke Wilson is in it. We see Holland Taylor is in it. There's a bunch of people in it. And side note, and FYI, but not really, there is not a cameo, but there's this girl that played on General Hospital. Her name is Kimberly McCullough. She plays one of Elle Woods' sorority sisters in the film, and I thought that was hilarious. Not only did I think that was hilarious, but they also had a moment where Elle was watching General Hospital in her room. So I'm like, okay, for the nod to the soaps, the kind of quiet nod to the soaps. But yeah, Selma Blair is in this movie, Jennifer Coolidge, Holland Taylor, Ali Larter, Alana Ubach, Linda Cardellini, Raquel Welch does a cameo. Most of these people that were in this film at the time, we did not know who they were. And critics at the time called it Clueless Goes to College, which I think is pure comedy. Universal Pictures initially passed on it, and then MGM ended up buying it. And the show was so hella popular that Broadway turned it into a Broadway musical starring my girl, Laura Bell Bundy, who I worked with on Heart of Dixie. I loved it, loved it, loved it. The musical played at the Palace Theater in New York. It ran for 595 performances, and it closed on October 19th. October 19, 2008. It was written by Lawrence O'Keefe with Laura Bell Bundy starring, as I said, as Elle Woods. Now, you know, I always like talking about who got the part, who was supposed to get the part but didn't get the part. So here are the people that were in the running for the movie version of Legally Blonde. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Let me crack my neck. Chloe Sevigny turned down the part of Vivian Kensington. Charlize Theron, Gwyneth Paltrow, Alicia Silverstone, Katherine Heigl, Christina Applegate, Mila Jovovich, Jennifer Love Hewitt were all considered for the role of Elle Woods, as was Tori Spelling. If you remember, there's that moment where she talks about when Warren tells her he doesn't want to date her. She says that she is from Beverly Hills and lives across the street from Aaron Spelling. So that was a nod to the fact that Tori Spelling was actually was in the running for the role, but didn't get it. So they just kind of threw her name in there. But those are all of the things that I love about Legally Blonde. It's 20 years old. They're coming out with Legally Blonde 3, which is going to drop later this year. And I'm so excited. Look at Reese Witherspoon. She don't look like a date and pass, don't she? I love her. And of all the movies that I've seen her do, Sweet Home Alabama, and this one and Walk the Line are probably my favorite movies that I've ever seen her do. I love her in those films. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, Michael B. Robin Scorpio. I love that. I was like, yes, Robin Scorpio, you better be all up in Legally Blonde. I was like, is that her? Yes, it is her. So anyway, that is it for this edition of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Again, if you are new here, if this is your first time joining me, please give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Click that bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel. And like I say every week, if Arsenio Hall can subscribe to the channel, you can subscribe to the channel. I want to thank Brandon, Michael B, and Kenneth Williams for joining me, as well as some other people's names who I might not be able to see in this moment. Thank you for joining me live. Next week, as I am getting ready to host the Spirit Awards backstage, I'm going to talk about the Spirit Award predictions, who I think might be taking home those awards now that I have a better handle based on what's happened already. And we're going to recap the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and I might have an interview or two, or maybe a special co-host guest. I don't know. I might tell you throughout the week. I might not. I might wait till the last minute. Who knows? But until then, stay safe, wash your hands, get that shot if you're able to get that shot. And I will see you next week. Okay. Love, peace, and hair grease, and deuces until the next time. Bye.